120 as a right-hand batter, and Santana starts him off with a fastball for a strike.
That 120, Gary, is 3 for 25 against the left-handers.
Rollins just 1 for 17 lifetime against Santana, who has never lost to the Phillies, and he's ahead on Rollins 0-2.
Santana coming out throwing two cheeses right off the get-go, Ronnie.
Yeah, and he's pitching them in also. If you watch Rollins, he is right on that plate, Keith. Look at that back foot.
And deep.
And Rollins fouls it back. Santana had the rough first inning in his last start against the Marlins. Gave up a home run to Jorge Cantu in the first inning. Allowed 2 runs and then nothing else. The rest of his stint left with a lead, but the bullpen let it get away. First time that's happened to him this year. It happened 7 times last year. 1-2 to Rollins. But Santana made 5 starts in April. He won 3 of them. He had the drop fly ball in Florida that cost him a game, and he had the bullpen cost him a game. Otherwise, he would have been 5-0. He's been brilliant every time out. 1-2, reach for and foul.
He would have been Greinke-like.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Greinke's been unbelievable. His ERA is 0.40 through 6 starts.
I think there's only been 2 pitchers that had a better ERA through those first 6 starts. Fernando Valenzuela, modern day, and Walter Johnson.
Santana, no slouch at 1.10, the best in the National League. Again, the 1-2, and Rollins swings and misses at the changeup, and he is down for the first out of the game.
You know, it's a good combination. Fastball in, and then changeup in. Looks just like what the pitcher been getting the entire at bat.
So 1 out and nobody on, and now Victorino riding a 14-game hitting streak. He's already scored 23 runs this year. The Phillies, the top home run hitting team in the National League, averaging over 6 runs per game. And Victorino takes a strike.
Santana's coming out throwing hard. A very interesting stat, Gary. Right-hand hitters hitting only 151 against Johan. 308 left-handers.
Well, there are 3 left-hand hitters in the lineup tonight for the Phillies, and the first of them is on deck. That's Chase Utley, then Ryan Howard, and a little bit later Raul Ibanez. Oh, and 2 to Victorino. And the changeup is popped up. Alex Cora taking charge. And there are 2 out. So Santana easily retires the first 2. And now he'll take on Chase Utley. If you'll remember on Friday night when the Mets were in Philadelphia, Mike Pelfrey hit Utley on the right foot with a pitch. Utley didn't play Saturday in the Phillies' victory, and he played Monday but then didn't play yesterday. So that foot is still bothering him, and he pronounced himself fit to go. And you see he's wearing a little pad or shin guard over that right foot. And there's a strike.
Well, nothing like a little Met-Philly rivalry here to get you off the pine, off the trainer's table, and out there playing.
Well, 2007 and 2008 hit 52 times was Chase Utley. So sometimes when you don't get out of the way like he doesn't, you're going to pay for it.
And Utley off to a hot start this year after off-season hip surgery that had people wondering whether he'd be ready for the season to begin.
Well, they were looking at June or July with that surgery he had, but boy, he just really worked hard all off season. He started the season. Came out a little late for spring.
Yeah, but spring training's overrated. 1-2 to Utley.
Well, he's one of the finest hitters in the game. And
you'll see Santana here. He'll feature. That was not a good slider, but it's a pitch they very rarely see. He can use it when he's behind in the count.
He's been ahead of all 3 hitters in this inning. And Utley fists one foul. Ryan Howard, who's been heating up, waiting on deck. 13 pitches, 11 strikes. Just missed. And it's 2-2.
Utley's so disciplined at the plate there. It was an up and in fastball, Ronnie, with 2 strikes on him, and he fought off, stayed in the at bat. Santana throwing a slider, trying to see if he'll nibble, if he'll fish for a bad pitch, and he took it. wasn't fooled one bit.
Now on 2-2, Utley takes the fastball in tight, and a full count with Ryan Howard on deck.
Very interesting pitch there from Santana. Invariably, a lot of times when he goes against the best hitters, 2-2 is his fastball pitch. 3-2 he usually goes to the changeup. So sometimes that inside fastball is to set up that 3-2 change. Let's see what Santos gives him.
Slider. And that was all Santana. Santana wants the slider.
In a normal game against a right-handed lineup that he'll see most of the time, he'll throw 2 to 3 sliders a game. Against this team with Howard, Utley, and Ibanez, 15 to 17 sliders you'll see tonight.
3-2, and he walked him. And Utley is on in front of Howard. Now, Ronnie, facing the Phillies at Citizens Bank Park, facing the Phillies at cavernous Citi Field, any difference in approach?
Yeah, definitely a difference in approach. Here, you can take a chance on throwing that slider away to the left-handers. You can take a chance on dotting a fastball away to Howard and let him hit it to the big part of the ballpark. Although with Howard, less so, because I think when he hits them, doesn't matter what park he hits them in.
Although he gets so many of those pop fly home runs to left field in Philadelphia that would not be home runs here.
I think if anything, this Citi Field gives an advantage to the Mets as opposed to the Phillies.
Phillies have hit 35 home runs through their first 24 games. Howard has 5 of them, including a grand slam in St. Louis on Monday. And Santana starts him off with high heat, 0-1.
Well, all 5 of Howard's home runs are off right-handers. He hasn't hit one off a lefty yet, and that fastball upstairs was right by him. I just like Santana. He's establishing fastball here in the first inning, Ronnie.
Stays with the fastball, and he's ahead on Howard, 0-2.
Other than a aging pitcher, you show me a great pitcher in his prime, and I'll show you a guy who loves his fastball, will throw his fastball, and is not afraid of contact, and that is Santana.
Slider bad. See if he'll fish.
Laid off, and it's 1-2.
And that's something we've noticed with Howard, Gary, in that first series. And I've watched the Phillies a little bit on TV. He is not fishing after that bad left-handed slider out of the strike zone as much as he has in the past.
And that's one of the reasons why his strikeouts are down. And he struck him out with a fastball. So Howard, who fanned 199 times last year, goes down for the 27th time this year. No score. some changes. Alex Cora getting the start at second base. Daniel Murphy hits in the 6th spot for the first time this year. And Jeremy Reed unleashed his first start as a New York Met. Omir Santos goes behind the plate after Castro started the last 3.
Reed paroled, right? Chandler Park has really struggled, but the Phillies have been 3-1 in his starts because of their comeback ability. 25-16 in his career against the National League East. He has that high ERA, but 117 wins overall. Arguably the best pitcher to come from South Korea to play in the major leagues.
Jose Reyes trying to fight out of a slump. He has had a hit in each of the last 2 games, but just 3 for his last 30 as this series begins. By the way, it's not just Chan Ho Park. The Phillies starting pitching has been flat out awful. Their staff ERA among the starters 6.54, the worst in the National League, and yet they're sitting in first place.
Well, think about it this way from Mets fans. What would you feel like if you got no production from Johan Santana? That's what it's been for the Phillies because of stops and starts and injuries for Cole Hamels. He has no wins yet.
Flip side is the Phillies have been coming from behind late. They've been averaging 6 runs per game. But now playing in this ballpark for the first time, it'll be fascinating to see whether we see different kinds of games between these 2 teams.
There's Cole Hamels on the left and Jamie Moyer on the right. Jamie going tomorrow for his 250th win.
That 33 home runs allowed by the starters, 46 by the staff overall. Line down the right field side, but foul. Too quick, and it's 3-2 to Reyes.
This will be interesting because Chan Ho Park in the game in Citizens Bank Park could not find the strike zone, walked 6, and part of it was home plate umpire Scott Barry was behind the plate that day also, and he has a very small strike zone, as you'll see from a lot of rookie umpires who are not trying to get out of the Questec line.
It's a very interesting rotation in that Barry appears on this crew. He's a vacation fill-in with a different group than he was in Philadelphia. Here he's with the Welke brothers. Tim Welke, the crew chief, umpiring at third.
Already he's not calling the low strike, and he's been consistent in this inning. This one batter.
And Reyes bounces one down to Howard. Stays with the hop, and Park gets over to cover for the first out.
Well, nice play by Howard there. We'll take a look at the the Phillies defense. And Carlos Ruiz was injured early. He's back up. He's back in the lineup behind the plate. Raul Ibanez, boy, out and left. He has done a great job. And Victorino, how about him? I love this guy. He is a fine player. Won his first Gold Glove last season.
I'll tell you a little bit about Victorino. I was watching a game, Florida against the Phillies. Phillies were winning 13-1 in the 9th inning. Drive to right center. He's playing center field, and he dove on the warning track to try to catch the baseball. Phillies winning 13-1.
Here's Alex Cora making his 6th start. He has been absolutely everything the Mets could have asked for in a backup infielder thus far. Carlos Beltran on deck. Not just as he hit, and Cora's hitting .321, but he has played the game exactly the way you'd like to see it played.
Well, he is a consummate professional in the clubhouse and on the field. Fine glove. And like you said, Gary, he knows how to play the game.
And on a club where, going all the way back to the beginning of spring training, Jerry Manuel has preached attention to detail. This club would be well suited to follow Alex Cora's lead on attention to detail.
When he plays, he puts on a clinic. And to explain to you people at home what we're talking about, there's little things that happen in the game that you might not be able to see or not on the the next day in the paper. But we'll look out, and there'll be a bunt play where the pitcher's thrown it to the first baseman Delgado, and Cora will be in right field backing up. He goes from first to third when you're supposed to go to first to third. He won't go for a triple because he knows there's 2 outs and he's got to stay at second. Won't make the last out. All those little things that players that love this game and love it played correctly love to watch.
3-2 to Cora with 1 out, and he pops one up. Rollins under it waiting. And there are 2 away.
Oh, different Chan Ho Park so far early in this ball game. In Philadelphia, Gary and Ron, you remember he came out throwing breaking balls and changeups. This inning, he started the game throwing fastballs.
So now Carlos Beltran returning home as the league's leading hitter with that .404 batting average and the career high 16-game hitting streak, hitting .443 over the hitting streak. He has just been phenomenal. He takes a breaking ball for a strike.
He had a great post-game interview with Kevin in Atlanta of the 2 home runs, talking about how he enjoys and is hitting off that Jerry got the guys hitting off the curveball machine. And it's something that I did when I was young. And it made, he said it made him hit the ball deeper in the box. Deeper is their terminology. For me is let the ball come to you. That's my terminology. And thus he's hitting the ball more up the middle. And he's hit his home runs, couple to left center field and 1 dead center. He is just on everything.
Now Park working ahead of the count on Beltran. And Carlos watches outside. By the way, Met players are still using that curveball drill in the cage. They're not doing 80 pitches at a time the way they did in the spring, more like 15 to 20 now. In there for a call strike 3, so Park gets Beltran looking, and a much better beginning for Chan Ho Park than last week in Philly. We go to the second, no score. Field are on sale now. Great place, great seats, and a great time. Visit Mets.com or get to the phone at 718-507-TIXX. That's good. Johan Santana's picture against the old Meet the Mets music.
I like the little slide trombone. That's my favorite part of that.
That song always puts me in a good mood.
But do you know the second verse?
No.
Oh, the butcher and the baker.
No.
Another part? Gary. Here's Jason Worth leading off the second inning. And Worth takes a strike. Why would you ever want to change that song?
Never.
No.
Well, they changed it during your era. They had the, the hot dogs, green grass, all added shave version. There's a strike, but eventually they brought back the original.
I will say I was never ever aware of the music when I was playing, and got to love that song, to tell you the truth, when I used to bring my son here to the games, and he loved that song.
So you're telling me you never heard that they played the Beach Boys when you took the mound?
No, I wasn't hearing the Beach Boys either. I was seething out there, just ready to go. Santana fixing some chains.
Santana again starting Worth off 3 straight fastballs.
Worth homered yesterday in St. Louis, a bomb. Check swing foul.
Santana, when he pitches, especially early when he's being real aggressive with these hitters, you know, when your dog at home sees food, that's how he looks at the hitters, like that. I mean, just going to power right through that lineup. Look at those numbers.
He has just been on his game start after start after start. Struck him out with a changeup. A great beginning for Santana. Already his third strikeout among the first 5 batters.
No, just when you establish a fastball, as Keith said, you get those funny looking swings. And the better pitchers in the game get the funnier swings. And Santana does that regularly.
Now Raul Ibanez, in his first year with the Phillies, has gotten off to a tremendous start. At bat, in the field, in the clubhouse. He is playing to nothing but rave reviews in Philadelphia. Ibanez hitting at .351, third in the National League, and it takes ball 1. He has effectively replaced Pat Burrell in the Phillies lineup, and he's having a lot better time of it than Burrell is in Tampa Bay. Big cut at the fastball, and it's 1-1.
Boy, he threw it right by him there. It'll be interesting to see, Ronnie. This is the first time through the order. I know I'm jumping the gun here, but it has been predominantly fastballs. Second time through the order, we'll watch closely and see if there's any change.
There's a strike 1 and 2.
And his changeup is so devastating. It's been interesting to see the left-handed hitters swing at that fastball out of the strike zone. It seems like every time they get a fastball, they're raring to go.
He throws upstairs. He knows how to get that, like Seaver did. Get that ball up on your right about shoulder level. Tough to lay off.
1-2 to Ibanez. Just got a piece of that. Banking it off Santos.
Got a piece of Santos, that's for sure.
Raul Ibanez, born in New York, grew up in Miami, but he's kind of got a New York feel to him. One of the most well-respected players in the game. 1-2, just off the corner, 2-2.
Well, this looks like a good pitch, set up properly. We watched Sandy Alomar before the game working with Santos on framing that outside pitch. Beautiful job.
In there for a call, strike 3. Ibanez beefing with Scott Barry. 2 out.
And he's probably saying right here the slider curved around the plate, inside corner. To back up, miss on the opposite side of the plate. Oh, that's got plenty of plate, Ronnie. That's strike 3.
And occasionally what you also get from an umpire, anything close, is kind of a makeup call for the pitch before. Ibanez doesn't think so.
But Ronnie, don't you often not get that call when the catcher has to move his glove across the plate like that?
Exactly, that's the problem. But Barry right there, I think that was more of a makeup call. Anything that was going to be close, he's going to give it to Santana.
Here's Pedro Feliz, first pitch changeup, 0-1.
Because he knows, great first pitch fastball hitter.
That's exactly right. Nice scouting report.
Feliz hitting at .325, and he's been hot. Second year with the Phillies. The fastball gets Santana in front 0-2. Just got a piece. Emergency hack by Feliz to stay in the at bat.
Well, I can see that we're getting some of this, and why shouldn't we? Santana's ahead of every single hitter, and you're starting to get some of the fans that are standing up and clapping, anticipating the strikeout.
I have to say, before the game tonight, there wasn't much electricity in this ballpark. All of a sudden, there is. 0-2. He struck him out. Johan Santana strikes out the side of the second inning. take you through 9 innings of the biggest sports stories of the day in the Wheelhouse, presented by Pepsi, weekdays at 5:30 only on SNY. Chan-Ho Park off a good first inning. He got the Mets out 1-2-3. He'll take on Carlos Delgado, leading off in the home second with no score.
Carlos last night got the deciding base hit after the Chipper Jones error on the bunt drove in the 2 runs that were the deciding factor in the game.
Well, ultimately,
yes.
Keith, you saw Delgado. Do you see any lingering things with the hip in his swing?
I see I've seen a little bit of favoring. Yes, it looks better today.
Now, we noted in the series in Atlanta, the Braves did not overshift against Delgado, but the Phillies do immediately his first time up.
You see those disparity in the home and road numbers. It's early in the season.
Delgado pops one up. Victorino puts it away for the first out.
Throwing fastballs.
Victorino looked like he had a little trouble finding that ball in center field.
Well, it's a new ballpark, new lights, different lights, so you can see him looking up at the lights. Lost that one for a while.
This is the end of the play after he found it.
What's he got on his wrist there?
Here's David Wright. David had a good series in Atlanta. 4 hits in the 2 games, including 3 extra base hits, and the average up to 299. And Park misses away with the fastball.
I think the thing that was most encouraging watching that game on the television was coast to coast with David Wright, hitting down the left field line and then hitting one to right field.
It's amazing how often that shot to right center will get him going.
It gets most hitters going, Gary, that when you go the other way, you're not trying to go right at the right field, or you're trying to go in the opposite field gap and drive it. That gets you out of your slump.
Park works him away 3-0. He's hitting more balls to left field than he did earlier in his career, that's for sure.
You learn to pull, though, when you get older and you get more experience. You become more of a pull hitter. I think David's gone a little shade too much on the pull.
And Park walks him on 4 pitches, and the Mets have their first base runner. Remember, Park walked 6 in 4 2/3 innings against the Mets last Friday. And now Daniel Murphy, who homered against Park in the first inning of that game in Philadelphia. He's hitting 6th in the order tonight for the first time.
I like him in this spot behind David. When you have Cora in there, even with, if Castillo's hot, put him in that 2-hole. I always feel that Castillo's kind of wasted down there in that 8th or 7th position in the order.
Murphy hitting 6th because Ryan Church is off tonight. Jeremy Reed is batting 7th.
I like Murphy in this spot because if I was pitching, in any RBI situation, he's going to take a tough at bat. He's going to take an at bat where you got to throw 4 or 5 pitches.
Even last night when he left the bases loaded in the 2nd inning, he worked a good at bat, got a favorable count, just got under one to center field.
I don't like guys in RBI situation that don't ever strike out. Those are the tough guys to get out.
Well, he's got 50 plate appearances now, Murphy has, without striking out. And for a young player, that's just extraordinary.
With AA experience. See the defense right there in the outfield. Big gap out there in left center field. Murphy loves that gap.
Has to move his feet, and it's 1-1.
I find it very interesting that Victorino is playing on the right side of second base. You'd always want to play Murphy, I would think, on the other side of that base. Right, Keith?
I would think so, yes. But you got maybe Chan-Ho Park, who is a curveball pitcher, more apt to pull the ball on an off-speed breaking ball.
I think some of it has to do with also, as an outfielder, you sometimes go one way better than the other. We've seen Victorino make many catches in that left center field gap.
Victorino won a Gold Glove last year for the first time. Wright's had trouble stealing bases this year, just 4 for 8. And Park misses with that high changeup 2-1.
And Park just really kind of didn't set himself. Overly worrying too much about David over there at first base. Ronnie, when you pitched, if you decide to go home, you got to get your focus at home.
Absolutely.
David runs. Murphy tries to protect him. Rollins with the tag, and they got him at second base. I don't know if that was a design hit and run play, but it didn't work out very well.
It was a hit and run, and it was a tough pitch. No way that Murph could hit that pitch. I tell you what, nice throw by Ruiz on the backhand, and a nice play by Rollins. So David doesn't get a good jump. You see him looking back. You don't want to get picked off. In a hit and run, you're not trying to steal a base.
Well, just you want to play hit and run when you figure the pitcher's going to throw a strike, and Park certainly did not help the Mets in that regard. 2-2 to Murphy, and he tries to hold it. He went around, and the strikeout-less streak ends for Murphy at 50 plate appearances as Park strikes out his second of the night. On to the third. Santana back to the mound. Mets having trouble scoring for him again. No score. Town Manhattan.
Was that today?
Okay. Time for today's high-speed pitch presented by AT&T. Switch to the nation's fastest 3G network. Your world delivered. And Santana delivers a strike to Carlos Ruiz, who came back from the disabled list on Saturday to play that last game against the Mets. He'd been out with an oblique injury. Foul tipped, and again Santana's ahead 0-2.
Ruiz in the lineup. He has decent numbers against Santana.
3 hits and 7 career at bats. The pitcher Park, not a bad hitter on deck. And then Jimmy Rollins. 0-2. Grounded slowly. Wright has time with Ruiz running. 1 away. So 1 out and nobody on in the third, and now Chan-Ho Park will bat.
Boy, I tell you, Ron, I think if you're a right-hand hitter, Santana has just got such great stuff. I would be inclined just to move up in front of the plate, and get right on top of the plate.
You know, hitters do not do that, though. They have a stance, and that's where they'll stay. It doesn't matter who's pitching.
There are no more Rod Carews.
That's right.
The one problem when you do that, when you move not so much up, but when you move in closer to the plate, you got to make sure that a smart pitcher like Santana will see it and try to expand the strike zone. And remember, when you're used to standing, say, 1.5 feet away from the plate, and say you move 2 inches from the plate, you're not used to that strike zone. It's an entirely new strike zone as far as in and out.
Look at that strike to ball ratio. He's been ahead of everybody except for Chan-Ho Park. It's a strike, 2-1.
It's just interesting you say that, Keith. Joe McGrain, who was a fine pitcher for the St. Louis Cardinals, said about you that same thing. He said Keith Hernandez is the only guy I faced that he'd move around in the batter's box, but he'd take the strike zone with him, which was a great compliment.
Well, I worked on that very hard. I mean, Lou Brock told me I used to stand close to the plate on left-handers. And if I looked in and they were in a stretch and they looked that runner back at second, I'd back off the plate and look in.
3-1 to Park, and he walked him. Wow, how about that? Second walk given up by Santana, and it goes to the opposing pitcher.
He is human after all.
Exactly.
So a 1-out base runner with Jimmy Rollins coming up. Well, Santana is used to pitching in these close, low-scoring games this year. The Mets, in his 5 starts before tonight, have scored a total of 11 runs, 2.2 runs per start, and it's kind of hard to figure, but that's the way it's been so far this year.
Who was that for us? Was it Sid that we never got any runs for? I forget. Not sure. Was it you, Ronnie?
Rollins lines one into center field, and he's got the Phillies' first hit. Park will pull in at second, and the Phils have something working in the third, first and second, and 1 out.
Well, come back with a fastball, second time through the order, and Rollins sitting on it. Kind of bled back over the middle a little bit, Ronnie, huh?
It did. And you're right. It'll be interesting to see if he changes the second time through the lineup. He wants us down and in, and he gets it about middle, 6 inches to the left.
And too much extension in the hands there. Too much of the plate.
So now the hot-hitting Victorino, who popped up to second base his first time up. Park, the runner at second, runs pretty well for a pitcher, even at age 35. So on a base hit to the outfield, especially with all the expanse out there, he's got a chance to score.
Well, Victorino has really come a long way from the right side of the plate, hitting .360 against lefties this year.
And there's a strike on the outside, 1-1.
He got the big blow against Sabathia in the playoffs when Sabathia started that game.
Hit the grand slam and celebrated coming around first base, and that's when the Phillies hung that Jay Reyes in his locker the next day. 1-1, chased the changeup, and it's 1-2.
Well, we've seen this many times, this change up here through the second time in the order, but it's not only the differential in speed, it's also the movement on the pitch.
Off the end of the bat, Delgado's only play is at first. That's the second out as the runners move up. Cue shot by Victorino. So now second and third and 2 down, and Chase Utley coming to the plate.
Well, you notice there that Santana went to the changeup, men in scoring position where he can get hurt, and Victorino got changeups, 2 changeups in 4 pitches. There's one right there. Good sink to it too, Ronnie.
You know, you never would say this about Santana, but this might be the only time you might see not a pitch around, but pitches are going to be off the plate, getting Utley to go, out of the strike zone. I think he feels as though he has a much better chance against Howard than he does against Utley.
Even though Utley's career numbers against Santana are not as good. There's a strike.
First pitch slider there from Santana, and I'm not saying he's going to walk him. I'm just saying that I think that Santana has a feel for the game as much as any pitcher in baseball, and knows that his team's not scoring here against Park, knows that this is important to somehow get out of this inning with a 0.
He walked Utley his first time up, and he jams him and gets ahead 0-2. Now there was a quality fastball. And Howard hoping for a turn on deck, and Santana trying to make sure he leads off the next inning.
Meant to be away, and he misses up and in. Perfect.
Sometimes he just lets it go. Key though, if he wants to throw an 0-2 pitch up, he's got to go way up to Utley. We've seen him hit balls out of the strike zone, out of the ballpark.
7th time in 12 batters, Santana's gotten ahead 0-2. But again, chase the pitch down, 1-2.
Doesn't seem that Utley is fooled by Santana's changeup. His first at bat also. He walked on a 3-2. Was it 3-2 count here? Changeup. He seems to have a little bit of problem more with the breaking ball. But I agree with Ronnie. I mean, you got Howard down there who's just tremendous power, but Utley's the best hitter in this ballpark.
Santana has struck out 5 already tonight. Now he's 2-2 on Utley.
Those are tough pitches to lay off. You're 0-2, and you throw 2 changeups, start at your knees, and you see it drop out of the strike zone. And Utley taking it with tremendous balance.
Utley's hitting .421 this year with runners in scoring position. 2-2. Now back the fastball.
Good pitch, and just fought it off.
91, 91, 92. When you need it, 94.
That's got lots of play. It goes to show you. You know, you can. The pitcher can make a mistake and get away with his fastball more than if he makes a mistake with his breaking ball. There's the defense straight up.
Utley will use the whole field. Grounded right to Cora. Down to a knee to make sure. Side retired. Santana works himself out of third inning trouble. Now the Mets will go to work at the bottom of the third. No score. What a view.
Wow.
Want to see another good view? Wait a second. Here it comes. Waiting.
Wow, Webby.
That's very nice.
Bill had nothing to do with that shot.
Well, here's the other good shot I was talking about. The Mets' upcoming schedule. Remember, all Mets games on SNY are available in HD, presented by IOTV. One more game with the Phillies tomorrow night with Mike Pelfrey against Jamie Moyer. Pirates are in for 3 over the weekend, and then the Braves for 3 before the Mets go to San Francisco. And by the way, if you're in the car, be sure to listen to every game on Sports Radio 66 WFAN.
And I believe the coverage every night comes a half hour before game time, doesn't it, on SNY?
Well put.
The Ed Coleman Show.
Jeremy Reed making his first start as a Met. This is the 26th game, and Jerry Manuel figured it was about time to get Jeremy a start. He's been out there almost every day for defense when the Mets have been ahead. He's had just 11 at bats. Reed was a huge prospect, a number 2 draft pick with the White Sox, who at one time was listed by Baseball America as the White Sox #1 prospect. He's only had 1 year in the majors, though, where he played full time in Seattle. Other than that, he's either had trouble with injuries or been a part-time player. So a guy who has not had all that much big league experience, has kind of made the adjustment to being the fourth outfielder. 2-2. And he went around. Strike three.
Wow.
Third strikeout for Park as Reed is retired.
I didn't think he went here. Let's see. Well, close.
So now Omir Santos. Ramon Castro started the last 3 games behind the plate. Santos making his 8th start. And with Ryan Schneider still a significant distance from being ready to come back off his back and calf injuries, Santos has bought some more big league time. Park's ahead of him 0-2.
Well, Santos is one of those guys that Jerry likes to hit and run with. He has already this year. He is not a power hitter. He's a line drive hitter, goes the other way naturally. You can see that they're already going to try to pitch him in. It doesn't take long to get around the league.
By the way, this looks like a different Chan Ho Park than the one we saw last week.
This is Chan Ho Park circa 1998.
This is Chan Ho Park fighting for a spot in the rotation.
Yes.
Breaking ball fouled off.
What I was telling you guys before is that his inability to get ahead of hitters has made him look like, maybe he's done. And he's not when he's ahead of hitters, because his breaking pitch is still as sharp as it's ever been.
If you folks are wondering, the HK and that black dot on the chest of the Phillies and their uniforms, that is in honor of the late Harry Callis, who passed away last week. A couple weeks ago, excuse me. So we'll miss Harry.
And the Phillies are honoring him in all sorts of different ways, both in the ballpark, on their uniforms. 1-2 to Santos, up and in. Ouch. Quick reaction, 2-2.
That'll get your attention. He meant to go away and misses. Well, almost got him in the coconut.
This is where he was just trying to really get behind and throw that as hard as he could, and it came out a little early.
Chan Ho Park now 35 years old. One-time Met, but not for long. Santos pops it up. And Howard taking charge. 2 out. So Santana will get a turn at bat with 2 out and nobody on. Park has faced the minimum so far. What is it about some guys not getting run support?
Well, sometimes for Santana, part of it is easy to imagine. He's the #1 pitcher. He's facing the #1 pitcher of other teams a lot. He's faced Johnson twice from the Marlins.
Well, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing when the guy you don't score for is your ace. I guess it gives you a better chance than it would if you were not scoring for somebody who was giving up 4 or 5 runs a game.
Well, he was going every 5th day. This is the 7th day, so he should be on a different day facing Chan Ho Park, who's got a 7 ERA.
It always reminds me of my growing up in San Francisco, Gaylord Perry. The Giants couldn't score runs for him.
Park strikes out Santana, and he has faced the minimum first time through, his 4th strikeout. So we've got a pitcher's duel unfolding. Ryan Howard will lead off for the Phillies against Santana when we go to the 4th with no score. The blimp working overtime tonight to provide these beautiful shots of New York in the early evening.
With the blimp
going right up the Upper East Side. Chrysler Building there.
Get that Chrysler Building and the Empire State Building in the same shot. That's New York.
That was your old haunting grounds, weren't they, Keith?
Yes, I used to through my master bedroom window. I could lay in bed, wake up in the morning, roll up the shades, and there was the Chrysler Building right there, just beautiful as ever.
Nice.
Yes.
Do you wake up quickly?
No. Probably around 12 noon back then.
Ryan Howard leads off in the 4th inning in a scoreless game. Howard struck out his first time up, and Howard fouls the first pitch fastball off, 0-1. Howard's got a couple of home runs in his career against Santana.
And there's that triangle right there. The shift. See, that last couple of years, Ryan Howard be swinging that pitch, and this is definitely a lot of improvement on his part.
Well, you see the different sequence of the second at bat. First time through, he went 0-2 with those 2 fastballs and struck him out with the 4th pitch. Now going a little softer. We've seen the slider on the 2nd pitch and now a changeup.
On 2-1, Howard chases the slider, and it's 2-2.
Boy, he doesn't lay off this one. That's a tough one to lay off.
Struck him out. Down with the fastball. Strikeout number 6 for Santana, the second time he's gotten Howard.
Oh, beautiful. Just a fastball down and away. Started him with a fastball, went to slider, went to changeup, went to the fastball for the strikeout. Beautiful pitching.
So 1 out and nobody on. Now Jason Worth. Worth struck out his first time up. Santana has already struck out as many as 13 in the game this year. That was the game down in Florida that he lost 2-1 on a couple of unearned runs. He has struck out as many as 17 in a major league game. He did that 2 years ago against Texas. There's a strike. 0-2. He's been ahead 0-2 constantly.
I have to say right now, it took him a little bit to get used to pitching in New York, but the second half and the way he's come out in these first 6 starts are exceptional pitching.
Worth fouls it off.
His last 11 starts, he has not given up more than 2 earned runs. I mean, that is just crazy good. I mean, at one point you're going to have one bad game, aren't you? Not for Santana.
He's something special, and he makes it look so easy. You can just see just oozing confidence.
0-2. Struck him out with the changeup. That's 7 for Santana. 2 out in the 4th.
You can see the sink. He's really got great sink on that changeup.
It almost like it stops halfway and then just rolls the ball off the table.
So Santana on his game. There's been only 1 hit in this game so far. That was a Jimmy Rollins 1-out single in the 3rd. Here's Ibanez, who went down looking his first time, and he takes a strike. And another 0-2 count.
He's painting black, Ronnie. He's Rembrandt. I thought he died a long time ago.
Fouled away. Just got a piece of that one, or did he? Nope, got away from Santos on a swing and miss, and Ibanez reaches safely. So it's a strikeout for Santana, his 3rd of the inning, his 8th of the game, but Ibanez reaches.
on the other side of the plate. He's got great movement, and that's what I think fooled Santos. Is that going to be ruled an error or pass ball?
It's going to be a pass ball.
Right.
They just announced. Howie Carpin, the official scorer tonight. So 8 strikeouts, and Santana has a chance for that rare feat. 4 strikeouts in an inning if he can get Phillies, who takes ball 1.
There he is, leading Phillies off again with a changeup.
Derek Wallace was the first Met ever to strike out 4 in an inning. Hard-throwing reliever back in the early 90s. Don't know if it's been done since. Ronnie's looking it up. But no chance for one here as Santana plays kit saving a beauty and throws out Phillies to end the inning.
He was a heck of a soccer player, you know that.
Shades of Ronaldo. Oh, look at that. Little back heel. Phillies have a half-game lead. The Cardinals are up by 2, and the Dodgers clear by 5.5 out west.
I got my pick.
I got my pick too.
Text to 57508 or visit sny.tv to vote. Jose Reyes grounded out to Ryan Howard his first time up. Runs up as though to bunt and takes ball 1.
We're not going to say because we don't want to sway the vote, right?
Exactly. Or give it away. Don't want to influence the fans in any way whatsoever. We're very objective.
I think it's pretty obvious, don't you?
Very much in at third base. Phillies and the Mets right now, you know how it is with Jose. When he's red hot, the Mets, he sparks the Mets, they tend to win. And he just hasn't been gotten on track yet. It's just a matter of time for Jose.
Would you like to see him bunting more to try and get himself going?
No, I think he needs to swing to get going.
He drives this one to right field. A bad break on it by Worth. He goes back now and catches up to it. Boy, Worth got totally confused by that ball off the bat, and it makes you wonder whether he didn't see it at first.
Same as Victorino. Both Victorino and Worth are having trouble.
I thought Jose hit this ball better, and it just didn't seem to carry.
You know who can really help the right fielder on this ball when you lose it for a second? Your center fielder can be yelling at you, back, back, back.
Well, he ran in around 3 steps. Worth can play right field.
Yeah, he's underrated.
By the way, that might be a home run in Philadelphia. Here's Alex Cora, and he takes a strike.
Good point.
Excellent. Yeah, you are sharp.
It was kind of obvious.
Like the poll question.
Cora popped up to short his first time up and takes the curveball for a strike. Can't hold in his heyday with the Dodgers, he had those 2 different breaking balls going for him, and he pitched to ERAs of 2.5 every year in LA. Now for another former Dodger. Lines one towards short, and Rollins snatches it for the second out. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Budweiser, the great American lager. Now Beltran, who struck out looking his first time up, started the night with a 16-game hitting streak, the best of his career. Carlos, for most of his career, has been a 270, 280 hitter. So he is in some uncharted territory right now. And Park falls behind him 2-0.
Well, that's after the play there, and I think Victorino probably told him back, and Victorino had a different and better angle and probably screamed back.
And now Park behind Beltran 3-0, and we know Carlos loves to swing 3-0, especially in this kind of a game.
And Jerry likes to give his hot hitters a 3-0 hit sign. In a game with 2 pitchers throwing wonderfully, 1 run may make the difference.
Beltran taking this one. It's 3-1. Park has walked 1. He has struck out 4. And is not allowed to hit. 3-2 now to Beltran.
Well, Chan-Ho Park definitely has a plan tonight, doesn't he? I mean, only that 3-0 count was the only ball away. Everything has been inside, whether it's a fastball or slider in.
See the lifetime record for Park. His ERA exploded once he went to Texas. Pulled down to first, and Howard handles it. So 1-2-3 inning for Chan-Ho Park. He's now retired 7 in a row. The Mets have had just 1 base runner tonight. We go to the bottom of the 4th. Santana and Park hooked up in a good one. No score. Tonight's game on Lincoln Mercury post-game extra after every Mets game, only on SNY.TV, your online home of all things New York sports. Here's your Aflac trivia question for tonight. Which 3 players hit at least 30 home runs for both the Mets and the Phillies? That's an outstanding question.
3 players.
It's not Bud Harrelson.
No. And it's
sorry, buddy.
It's not Larry Boa.
It's not Tug McGraw either. Carlos Ruiz grounded out to third his first time up. I'm thinking.
I got one.
Mr. Thomas? Did he go to the Phillies?
Frank Thomas?
Yeah.
That's first 30 home run hitter. In comes Beltran, and he grabs Ruiz's pop-up for the first out. That is the first outfield putout behind Santana tonight.
Well, down at the bottom of this lineup, this is a nice point for Santana to try to get through quickly, save his pitch count. Jerry talked about having this 7 days rest. He was thinking of pushing him to 110, 115, maybe a little further in this ball game.
There's Park, who walked his first time up. Of course, the reason that Santana has an extra day's rest is because of Sunday's rainout. The Mets had the option of keeping him where he was and pitching against the Braves last night and pushing Livan Hernandez back. But I think the temptation of having Santana against the Phillies was too great to do it that way.
And you just can't figure baseball out, right? You pitch Livan Hernandez as a 3-15 career record, and he gets the win.
1-2, but that was a strange 3-15 since he was 3-0 in the postseason against the Braves. And you know, sometimes those records against teams can be a little overrated since teams do change. 1-2 to Park.
Other than Chipper, really, none of those other guys gave him any of those 15 losses. You're right. People change. I'd look at ERA if you pitched against the team over 10 times.
2-2 in the dirt. So after walking Park the first time up, Santana's gone full on Park his second time up.
Nice at bat by Park here. I mean, Santana's throwing everything but the kitchen sink at him, and he's got the count to 3-2.
Janho does have a home run this year. Hit it off, I think, Chris Volstad.
Yes,
right?
he did.
Pretty good pitcher. 3-2 from Santana, and he walked him again. How about that? Santana, who has been right on top of his game all night, has now issued his third walk, and 2 of them have gone to Chan-Ho Park.
Wow, go figure. Well, Rollins, as you recall, last time they walked Park back in the third, first ball fastball hit and got a base hit. Let's see what Santana opts for here.
And that single by Rollins to date is the only hit in this game for either side.
Change up first pitch, of course.
And it misses high, now where Santana intended it, 1-0.
Fastball in.
And he pops it up. Should be playable in foul ground. Delgado calling, and uses 2 hands for the second out. And the crowd responds, remembering well what happened in the 9th inning last night.
Nicely done. Gets a laugh from Carlos.
Very nice. Good to have a sense of humor.
Very good.
So 2 out. Park still at first. And now Shane Victorino, who has popped up and grounded out. And that changeup misses up and in. And the last 2 changeups Santana's thrown have been up.
First time he's lost the feel for it. Great pitchers, though, they kind of figure it out, figure out where they should release the pitch, make the adjustment.
Here's a good one, and it's 1-1.
Well, Victorino thought 1-0, looking for a fastball, and gets a changeup. And you saw Delgado playing in front of Park at first instead of behind them. I'd rather play behind.
And Victorino lifts one to center. Easy for Beltran. And the side retired. We are halfway through at Citi Field. Park and Santana, no score. Acela. It's been all about the two guys on the mound. There's been only one hit. That was a Jimmy Rollins single in the third. Otherwise, Park and Santana just matching zeros and waiting for something to happen. Carlos Delgado trying to make something happen as the Mets come up in the bottom of the fifth. And he rockets one deep but foul into that second deck of the Pepsi porch, but well foul. 0-1.
Nothing looks wrong with Carlos's hip tonight, and that's a day-to-day thing for Carlos. It's going to be there all season for him. And he is swinging the bat very well tonight with authority.
Delgado, Wright, and Murphy for the Mets in the bottom of the fifth.
The thing I'll be interested to see, Keith and Gary, is with that hip aching at times, will he be able to drive that ball to left center like he did so well in the beginning part of April?
Inside, and he gets hit. In fact, it was near that hip.
Yes, it was very close.
But Carlos did not appear to wince all that much, and he is aboard.
Well, you got to pitch Carlos inside, and he just got a little bit
more thigh than hip.
Yep.
Fortunately. So the Mets have the leadoff man on for the first time tonight, only their second base runner. The first one was Wright, who walked, but then was caught stealing on a blown hit and run play in the second. So the Mets looking to get something going against Park. And Wright takes ball one. Well, Johan Santana has struck out 8. Which what's that at the bottom? Wait a second. Did you guys put those up there?
It looks like John did, right? Oh, no, Johan. Sorry.
Top, and it says GaryKeithAndRon.com on the bottom.
The Sambati corner for Santana.
That was a sneak attack right there. Hit hard down to third. Phillies gets the out at second. Utley turns it. 5-4-3 double play. 2 out and nobody on.
Well, it jammed him right here, Ron. He came inside behind 2-0. Something we didn't see from Park. Delgado opts not to slide. It wouldn't have mattered anyway. David just got jammed inside.
So the Mets have had 2 base runners. They've both been erased tonight. And now Murphy takes a letter high strike. Murphy struck out his first time up. First time in 51 plate appearances that Murphy has been fanned, and only the 7th time this year. 1-1. Let's check in with Kevin Burkhardt. Kevin.
Guys, I was talking to Daniel Murphy about the inside pitch and dealing with that inside pitch, and he said, you know what, for me it's just about recognition. He said, if I'm looking for it, then I have to do something with it. He hit a couple of home runs off Philly on those inside pitches. Of course, his last at bat, the curveball gave him trouble. Here he punches one to left center field, and that is going to fall in. Guys, take it away.
Murphy heads for second, and he's in standing with the Mets' first hit of the night. A 2-out double for Daniel Murphy.
Well, this ball had a lot of hang time. In Philadelphia, they've been raving about Ibanez, how he's played left field, but they said that he doesn't cover a lot of ground, and you've got a much shallower left field in Philadelphia at Citizens Bank Park. A much bigger park here, obviously, at Citi Field. That's a fly ball that dropped. It should have been caught.
And, you know, we brought it up in the first at-bat by Murphy. Victorino playing on the right field side of second base, shading him to right center instead of left center, as most teams will do.
Yeah, and that's the ball that Victorino, as the Gold Glover, has got to go get, because there's no way Ibanez is going to get there.
And there they are. Oh, boy, miss a wanted it belt high in. Too much plate.
So now a chance for Jeremy Reed to crack the scoreless tie. Reed struck out his first time up, and he takes up and in for ball one. Reed making his first start as a Met, and now he's got a chance to give them a lead.
You got to get a good break, though, if you're Daniel Murphy. Worth has a good arm. Victorino has a good arm. Ibanez, an accurate arm.
Reed takes the change outside 2-0. Reed has had one clutch hit as a Met this year. Remember in that series in Florida the first week of the season, 2 out in the 9th. Got a game tying hit against Matt Lindstrom. That's his only run batted in this year. And there's a strike with the changeup, 2-1.
Ronnie, question. With Santos, who's had more playing time and is more of a line drive hitter, with Reed not a lot of playing time, if you're pitching right now, you want to get Reed in this situation?
I want to go after Reed. Here's a guy who just hasn't had a lot of at-bats. You'll know that going in.
Fouled it away.
And you'll see what happened right there. 2-1. Hitters count. Fastball out over the plate. And Jeremy just a little late. And that comes from not facing big league pitching. That's cage hitting. That's facing batting practice pitchers. Not that good live fastball.
And the other thing is Park knows Reed a lot better than he knows Santos. He faced him in the American League. Reed has 13 career at bats against Park. 3 for 13. 2-2 to Reed. Oh, tight with the fastball on a full count.
Well, Chan Ho Park, no matter what happens, what the outcome of this game is, if he doesn't take home when he goes back to the hotel room that I threw my fastball, that set everything else up.
There's nothing else. He saved a spot in the rotation tonight.
This should be a blueprint for every game he pitches the rest of the year.
Absolutely.
Three and 2 to Reed with Santos on deck. And he rolls over one to second base. Utley makes the play to get Reed. And we've got a scoreless game through 5. Park gets out of his first jam, and now Santana goes to the bat for the 6th against the heart of the Philadelphia batting order, trying to keep this game scoreless. Trivia question. I think we're clueless on this. What 3 players hit at least 30 home runs for the Mets and the Phillies? One of you mentioned Frank Thomas, but he's not the answer. Dykstra hit 30? No, he didn't hit. Did he hit 30 in their career?
Oh, okay.
I thought they meant in the season.
All right.
Didn't you think that?
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
we were throwing a curveball.
That definitely is a curveball. There's a strike to Chase Utley. Big inning for Johan Santana against the 3, 4, and 5 hitters. Utley, Howard, and Worth in a scoreless game. Utley has walked and grounded out to second base, 0 for 1. And he lifts this one to left, chasing Murphy back onto the track. And Murphy makes the play, 1 out.
Well, where would that ball be in Philadelphia?
In the flower bed.
Welcome to Citi Field, a pitcher's haven.
Nicely tracked by Murphy. 1 out. And now Ryan Howard has been up twice and struck out both times, and there's the pitch sequence on him.
Really the theme. The first at bat he went after him hard, and the second at bat used more of his breaking stuff. A couple sliders, a changeup.
And Howard swings and misses at a first pitch changeup. 0-1.
Now, if you're pitching, that's a good slider there. You're more apt, if you got a few runs on the board, not to show them your changeup or those pitches you want to get when there's people on base.
Rolls over one down to Delgado, and he'll take it himself. And so Howard now 0 for 3. 2 out and nobody on. Let's check in with the studio. Go to Chris Carlin for a New York State Smokers Quit Line game break. That's 2 starts and 2 early exits for young Graham Taylor for Florida.
And that's about 22 hours too late for a chipper. That would have been devastating if that happened last night.
Here's Jason Worth, who has struck out twice, and Santana gets ahead of him with a fastball.
And that's one of the few times that Santana has thrown a pitch to what a hitter's been looking for, and he beat him. Fastball.
Johan has struck out 8. He's walked 3. And now he's ahead on Worth, 0-2.
This is just sweet to watch.
0-2. Struck him out. Santana gets Worth for the 3rd time, his 9th strikeout of the night. No score.
Successful run at that coveted 20-game victory plateau. Here is the 2-2 delivery to Hector Cruz. Swung on and missed, struck him out. The ball game is over. Cruzman has his 20th win of the year.
You know, it got obscured because Tom Seaver was so great, but Jerry Koosman had a fantastic career both as a Met and even after he left the Mets.
That was 1976.
76. John Stearns doing the catching.
And I remember that game. I did not get the start that day, and I wasn't too upset about it.
You're already ducking Koosman already?
Omir Santos takes ball 1 as we start the bottom of the 6th.
Those are the old hats with the bicentennial year,
which the Pirates then kept wearing beyond the bicentennial. Pulled foul outside third, and it's 1-1 to Santos. 8, 9, and 1 in the order for the Mets against Chan-Ho Park, who has been 180 degrees removed from what he was last Friday, when the Mets tagged him for 7 runs and 4 2/3.
Well, maybe, yeah, you see those stats, boy. Maybe Mr. Santana's got to have one of those little league games, right? Throw a shutout and hit one out of the ballpark.
Well, Milwaukee's Giovanni Gallardo did that last week. 1-0. Breaking ball, blooped behind first. Long run for Howard, and it lands foul. Santos almost got himself a little parachute there.
Boy, Jason Worth got caught in that angle out there a little bit. We're going to see some, I think, as the years go by and the season progresses, a few right fielders tumbling over that waist-high fence line.
Well, you know, they have a similar angle in Philadelphia, but it's a little further back toward the corner.
Yeah, it is, and so that, you know, they can slow down and say, no, it's going to be fouled. Here, you literally don't know if the ball's going to be fair or foul, so you have to have max effort so close to those stands.
1-2 to Santos. Struck him out.
Wow.
Chan-Ho Park with strikeout number 5. It's been a revelation.
This is like Marichal Koufax.
Well, Johan, we know he doesn't hold anything back, but this would be a good time to swing hard in case you hit it.
Johan has never hit a major league home run. He's had 117 at bats in the major leagues.
Well, he's got an idea up there. He's got a nice swing. He's a low ball hitter, typical lefty.
Hit in the air to right center field. Hit well, but not well enough, as Worth goes back and reels it in. So Santana gave it all he had and hit it about 370. 2 out and nobody on.
Just a little bit out of the strike zone. Not a bad cut. Ronnie, do you think if the Park continues to play big like this, are Met pitchers going to come to the realization and have confidence that if they fall behind and they can let that fastball go and take their chances?
On the outside part of the plate, absolutely, and especially when you got a Gold Glove center fielder.
Here's Reyes, who's 0 for 2, and he takes a fastball on the inside edge. Well, Santana gave up an opposite field home run to a left-hand batter, right, against Nick Johnson in this ballpark.
Yes, you're right, Gary, over the Delta sign.
Right down the line.
1-1 to Reyes. But you're not going to see that happen all that often.
No. That was an impressive home run.
He's got to be thinking, where have all the runs gone? That's had a good offensive road trip. Foul tip by Reyes, 2-2. Look at that.
Wow. And he's traditionally wore out Phillies pitching.
Well, he once had a 3 home run game in Philadelphia. 2-2 from Park. And Reyes did not chase it. It's 3-2. Say just trying to get it going. 3 for his last 32 overall. Mets have had just 1 hit tonight, a 2-out double by Murphy in the 5th. And Reyes fouls it off.
It was a good case right there, right, Keith? A 0-0 game. 3-2 count on Reyes. Just a fastball away. See if he can hit it out to center field.
Reyes has just 1 home run this year. Grounds that one toward the hole. Great diving stop by Howard, and the backhand flip. Park can't handle it. That was an amazing play by the previously defensively challenged Ryan Howard. The great stop, the nice flip. Park just didn't catch it.
Nice dive, and look at this. Nice little backhand. Perfect throw. And Park looks down at the bag before he has the ball.
Well, what he did, he didn't bust off the mound right away, so had to play catch up the rest of the time. And the great work with Sammy Palazzo this winter with Ryan Howard has turned him from night to day as far as his defensive capabilities. I mean, an option quarterback at Oklahoma would have been impressed with that toss.
So an error on Park for failing to catch that throw. Give an assist to Howard. I give him 2 assists on that play.
Well, let's see now how Park pitches with the potential stolen base threat and Jose Reyes.
Well, this has got to be one of those situations where you've got a must-go sign for Reyes, right?
You have to steal, but more importantly, you have to steal early in the count.
And a pitch out, so the Phillies looking for him to run early, which Reyes rarely does.
I disagree with that pitch out right there because you've got the hottest hitter in the league, the leading the league in hitting, and Beltran in the on-deck circle.
But also, if you scout the Mets, you have to know Reyes almost never runs first pitch. So if you're going to pitch out, first pitch is not the time to do it.
The key for Jose is that within the first 3 pitches, there's one right there. Within the first 3, he's got to get down there. Why? Because you don't want Alex Cora hitting 0-2 or 1-2 with only 1 strike to bring him in. You want him to have him a couple strikes to maybe get him in.
You see Ibanez over here playing very shallow in left field. And Victorino shading the opposite field, shallow in center also. But Ibanez is really in close. That's almost where other teams play Luis Castillo when he hits left-handed.
I have to think that Cora is going to get a fastball here with a count 1-0.
Not going. And it's on the outside corner, a strike, 1-1.
You got a call there. Alex didn't think that was a strike. Thought it kind of ran away outside. And I think it did, and he got the call.
Cora had a nice game against the Phillies Saturday coming off the bench, including a triple to right center, and there is a lot of room in right center field right now. Not going, and it's 2-1.
Right now, Cora, you don't want him taking a pitch for Reyes to steal. If he gets a fastball, a pitch to his liking, let it rip, because if he gets it in the gap or down the line, it's going to score Jose.
And again, you would think that a fastball will be thrown by Park here. Good hitting situation for Cora.
Reyes has 6 steals and 8 tries this year. Hasn't run yet in this count. Now he goes, and the pitch outside. Ruiz with the throw, and it goes into center field. And Reyes up and running to third. Victorino with the throw, not in time. Stolen base for Reyes, throwing error on Ruiz. Second error of the inning, and Reyes is on third with 2 out.
Well, a good pitch to throw here, and just doesn't get it there. A perfect throw would have got Jose. And Jose, that pop-up slide, head first and pops up, winds up on third. Not a great jump, just a great speed. Good throw had him.
Not only did Rollins not stop it, but neither did Utley backing up the play. That allows Reyes to go to third. Now it's 3-1 to Cora. And keep in mind, in this ballpark, on a wild pitch, that barrier behind home plate is only 45 feet away and made of brick.
You see Phillies at third base. Has to play in a little bit, respect maybe a drag bunt.
Ball 4, and now Beltran will come up with runners on the corners. Well, this inning should have been over if Chan-Ho Park catches that throw on the fine play by Ryan Howard. But instead, the Mets now have first and third and 2 out, and the league's leading hitter coming to bat.
Well, other than dropping that pitch, that was a mistake there by Park. You have to, at some point, try to challenge Cora, don't you? And you have to throw a strike. Let him put it in play.
Well, this is what it's all about. Got a red-hot pitcher out there with great stuff, and you got the hottest hitter in baseball.
Carlos tonight has taken a call third strike and grounded out to first base. Reyes at third, Cora at first with 2 down. And Beltran takes inside ball 1.
Well, I love with the breaking ball pitcher with Ryan Howard having to hold Cora on. Nice lane there for Carlos Beltran.
Wants a breaking ball in, slider.
This badly with it, and it's 2-0. You got Carlos Delgado waiting on deck. Hardest working inning Park has had so far. 20 pitches in this inning, 88 in the game. Two and 0 to Beltran, and he misses high. Ball 3. Well, green light here.
He didn't swing 3-0 his last time at bat.
I'd give him the option.
Jerry said he's more likely to give a 3-0 hit sign with runners in scoring position and his big guys up.
3-0 slider. How about that?
And he takes it for a strike.
And that's a good one to take. Carlos 5 for 13 with runners in scoring position. 2 outs.
Problem with throwing sliders when you're behind in the count, you want to throw it for a strike. That's when you throw that one that hangs. Let's see what Ruiz calls.
Fastball in.
Popped up. Ibanez under it. And Park gets the big out to work himself out of trouble and work around a couple of errors, one his own. We head for the 7th. Great pitchers duel, no score. The Phillies concludes tomorrow night at 7:10 p.m. Mass transit is the faster, easier, and greener way to Citi Field. Get to the Mets' new world-class home of amazing and visit Mets.com or call 718-507-TIXX for your tickets now. Well, Chan-Ho Park able to work himself out of trouble in the 6th. Now Santana back to the mound for the 7th in a scoreless game. Raul Ibanez has struck out twice, reached on the passed ball by Santos in the 4th. Santana has struck out 9. He's allowed just 1 hit. Jimmy Rollins single back in the 3rd. And it seems as though he's been 0-2 all night long.
Yeah. You see the pitch count right there. It's excellent. 66 strikes, 25 balls. I just love the way he's gone after him, Ronnie, with his fastball. It's been his predominant pitch.
Ibanez hits one toward the gap in right center field. That's going to be between them and all the way to the wall and up over the wall for a ground rule double.
Oh, they may have caught a break there, the Mets. I know Ibanez doesn't run that well, but that's the deep part of the ballpark. That could have been 3. Nice hitting. High fastball. Too much of the plate and not high enough, Ronnie. And that's just good hitting.
Well, that fastball, that 0-2 he's thrown past hitters earlier, getting into the 7th inning. Maybe didn't have enough on that. I think you're right, Keith. That would have been a triple. Stays in the park.
You're not going to see a lot of ground rule doubles in fair territory in this ballpark because of the high fences. So the lead run at second with nobody out. Now Pedro Feliz will try and advance Ibanez.
Ronnie, you had an off-speed pitch with your split finger. You're facing a right-hand hitter trying to go the other way. What would you do to get him to pull the ball?
First pitch fastball inside first, which what Santana tried to do but missed. And then if you get ahead, you can either throw curveball or split finger down and in, or something down. Curveball they're going to pull, and a split finger they're going to pull.
Feliz is 0 for 2. And he pops it up. So Santos right at home plate puts it away. And Feliz fails to advance the runner. So a big first out for Santana.
That's a huge first out for Santana, Gare.
Now you got the 8 and 9 hitters coming up. And you wonder, would the Phillies consider batting for Park as well as he has pitched?
Yeah, that's I think you keep him in the game only because sometimes you can stay in the game, Gary, because you are a threat as a pitcher, as a hitter. You can hit enough to stay in the ball game.
Well, he's been a threat so far tonight. Santana's walked him twice. First Ruiz, though, who's 0 for 2, grounded to third, flying to center.
Oh.
And he takes a fastball for a strike.
Some hitters you have to change up on throughout the entire game. Channel Park on deck. Ruiz, Santana has pitched the same way all night. In and down.
This will be his 95th pitch of the night. And he misses low, 1-1. Scott Air, first man up in either bullpen. So that gives the Phillies the choice to hit for Park, who right now is standing on deck. I wonder if he can escape from there. 1-1 to Ruiz. And that changeup misses. 2-1.
Not by much. Wow.
He's gotten tougher the bigger the situation.
1 for 20.
Heck, he's only allowed 4 earned runs this year. Rally visors. Wait a second. Got the wrong team batting.
Bad timing, guys.
On 2-1, Ruiz hits it hard, but right at the shortstop. Reyes with plenty of time throws out Ruiz. 2 out.
Or they
has to hold.
They had Ruiz defense beautifully. Reyes really playing for the pull. That ball was hit hard, Jose, right there.
And Park is being called back.
You can see Jose shading a little bit to left. Look at the footwork. Gets in front. Beautiful. Nicely done.
So Park will leave. Charlie Manuel trying to get a run on the board here in the 7th inning, and Eric Bruntlett will back for Park, who leaves after 6 tremendous innings, having allowed just 1 hit, a couple of walks, and 5 strikeouts.
Well, there was back in the day when we were growing up, the pitcher would have hit, Ronnie, in a game like this.
Well, with 2 outs, with 1 out, I think you definitely hit. With 2 outs, the chances of getting hit off Santana aren't good. But you know what? When you go against Santana like this, you're just trying to take any kind of opportunity you can.
Yes.
It's been a rough start for Bruntlett this year, hitting just 150. The go-ahead run at second with 2 out. And Bruntlett takes a fastball for a strike.
Well, one of the rules of pinch hitting is don't take a fastball.
Be ready to swing, right?
Yep.
And Bruntlett swings through that fastball, and it's 0-2.
Same spot, Keith. You go right back there, up and in.
I would, out of the strike zone, obviously.
Yep.
He can do anything he wants. The stuff he's got tonight, which is every night.
He struck him out. Number 10 for Johan Santana. It is 7th inning stretch time. Park is out of the game, and the Mets have got the big bats coming up. Delgado and Wright trying to break this scoreless tie with Murphy to follow. Place team has the best chance of winning. I think that's pretty much the consensus.
That away crew. You got your thinking caps on today. I like it.
To the front of the class.
Well, they're going to go 81-0 at home this year, aren't they?
Yes. That'll put them in good position.
36-year-old Scott Air takes over the pitching as we go to the bottom of the seventh.
This will be his 23rd career appearance against the Mets. This season so far, 10 of his 11 appearances have been scoreless, but he's one of those guys that he usually just comes in to face one left-hander. It'll be interesting if that's what he has to do here, just face Delgado.
And this one left-hand batter has good numbers against Scott Air. He's 4 for 11 in his career against his former Toronto Blue Jay teammate.
Ooh.
Chad Durbin, the right-hander, now up in the Phillies bullpen with David Wright on deck. Delgado tonight has flied to center and been hit by a pitch. The Mets have just one hit. That was a Daniel Murphy double in the fifth. The Phillies have just 2 hits off Santana, who, by the way, if he takes them out for the 8th, and we think he will be the first Met pitcher to throw a pitch in the 8th inning this year. That first starter. Here's a strike to Delgado, 1-1.
Big shift, the triangle shift on Delgado.
Phillies don't play Utley as far back in the outfield as some teams do.
I always feel against left-handers also that Carlos is more apt to hit the ball the other way.
Well, in this situation, you've got to respect the fact that he might be trying to look for something to hit out. But definitely with 2 strikes, shade him back over.
Well, the Mets right now are just thrilled to have Chan Ho Park out of the game the way he pitched tonight. As Frankie Rodriguez starts to get loose. Park allowed just 1 hit, walked 2, struck out 5, and hit a batter in his 6th inning. 2-1, and that slider misses, and now Air behind on Delgado, 3-1. Carlos with 3 home runs on the year. He's driven in 18 to lead the ball club.
Do you pinch run? If Carlos gets on, you pinch run for him. I think you do.
On 3-1, Delgado can't hold the swing, and it's 3-2.
Pretty good pitch right there. 3-1. Big sweeping breaker.
Three-2, and he walked him. Came with a fastball on 3-2 after the 2 sliders in a row, and the Mets have the tie-breaking run at first with David Wright coming up.
And nice at bat for Carlos.
It does not appear as though Jerry Manuel is going to pinch run for Delgado.
And Ayers left to pitch against Wright with left-handed hitting Murphy on deck.
Charlie Manuel, the manager of the Phillies, playing with fire here. David, notorious murderer of left-handed pitching.
Especially that little breaking ball that ends up low and in.
And David has 3 hits and 5 career at-bats against Air. Takes the slider for a strike, 0-1. David tonight has walked and hit into a double play, 0 for 1. Charlie Manuel rolling the dice, trying to move Air through Wright so he can stay on to face Murphy and Reed, the 2 left-hand hitters behind him. 1-1 to David.
These are one of those times, I think, where managers cross their fingers.
Hope they don't roll craps, right?
Just get me this out.
Limited at bats against lefties. The Mets haven't faced very many left-handers. But David's always hit lefties well. In tight with the fastball, and it's 2-1. So Air having trouble throwing strikes, and now Daniel Murphy, who has the only hit for the Mets tonight, waiting to follow. Phillies got Scott Air from the Cubs last summer. And now he's behind on right, 3-1.
Well,
Scott Air is on the verge of undoing a lot of fine work by Chan Ho Park tonight.
Well, every decision by Charlie interconnected to another decision, deciding to bat for Chan Ho Park. Put Scott Air in the game.
Park had thrown 91 pitches through 6 innings, so he certainly could have pitched the 7th. 3-1 now to right, and David pops it up. Shallow right. In comes Worth. Out goes Utley, and Worth staggers to make the catch. Boy, he's had some trouble on some balls tonight, hasn't he?
And the wind is really not blowing
No.
very strongly.
There's just a lot of space out there.
I think you're right. That's the problem, is that when you get a pop-up like that, you've got to bust so far to go to the spot where you think it's going to be, and then once you pick it up, you can see that it's drifting on you.
See the flag there. Steady breeze.
So now Murphy, who doubled the left center against Park in the 5th, now has an 8-game hitting streak running. Delgado at first and 1 out in a scoreless game in the 7th. And Daniel drives one to left center field, cutting over his Victorino. He gets there in the gap and runs it down.
So a good pitch by Air right there. Up and in. Probably more belt high. This is good old-fashioned hardball right here. I had bled over the plate a little bit. I had a lot of plate running.
I think it just beat him, though. I think that the speed of the pitch just beat Daniel.
And also this time, Victorino was not playing to right center with the left-hander on the mound.
Absolutely.
So it was a lot easier for him to get there. Now Jeremy Reed is being called back. He got a lot of right-hand hitting on the bench. Sheffield and Tatis particularly. And we'll see which way Jerry Manuel wants to go. Whoever it is, he does not have to come in from the bullpen.
Fernando.
And so Fernando Tatis will get the call here. So Tatis, who did not get the start tonight against Chan-Ho Park, a guy that he has owned in his career, comes off the bench here in the 7th inning to face the left-hander Air.
Batting for Jeremy Reed. Tatis probably going to get a start tomorrow against Jamie Moyer. You like this matchup better than Sheffield, Keith? Tatis?
Yes. Sheffield still trying to find his stroke.
And Tatis a little better fastball hitter right now.
And Tatis is used to this role coming off the bench more than Sheffield is.
Tatis has not had an at-bat since Saturday's game in Philadelphia when he went 0 for 5. But he had done a very nice job up until that point filling in for the injured Delgado. Now Charlie Manuel makes his way out to the mound. He's got the right-hander Durbin in the bullpen, and if the Mets wanted to respond, they have the left-handed bat of Ryan Church. So we'll see whether the Manuels match moves here. Durbin peering in. He can barely see the field to see if he's getting the call, but he is as Air takes his exit. This call to the bullpen is brought to you by Lincoln Mercury. The Mets trying to break a scoreless tie in the bottom of the 7th as Charlie Manuel makes a pitching change and goes for Chad Durbin. and blue smoke. We got your standard grilled sausage too.
Sausage here in New York.
Upscale. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Bob's Discount Furniture. Bob's Discount Furniture is America's #1 furniture retailer of the year and the official furniture store of the New York Mets. Chad Durbin comes on for the Phillies with 2 out in the 7th.
He probably had the best year other than Brad Lidge last year in that bullpen for Philadelphia. Has not been as effective this year. 5 of his 14 appearances he has been scored upon, but against right-handed hitters this year, 152 batting average.
Now Fernando Tatis will stay on to face Durbin. Tatis has had 1 career at bat against Durbin, and he hit a home run. Delgado the tie-breaking run at first. He drew a leadoff walk against Scott Air, who then retired David Wright and Daniel Murphy on fly balls. And now Durbin on to face Tatis, who is batting for Jeremy Reed, and he takes inside ball 1. Noted on the stat numbers for Durbin, 9 walks in 15 innings.
He's usually a strike machine, or he was last year.
Santana ready to go out there for the 8th inning, hoping the Mets can scratch for him. There's a strike on the outside, 1-1.
Fernando always likes to look for a fastball, something in for till he gets a strike on him, and then he goes the other way really nicely.
The one pitch he likes, the power pitch for him, is that little slider middle of the plate down.
Broken back grounder. Tough play for Phillies with the bare hand. He throws wide and it goes down the line. Delgado digs for third. The ball stays in play. Delgado heading home. The throw to the plate by Worth. Sliding. Safe. The Mets take the lead. Worth hesitated after picking up the ball, but Delgado never stopped coming around third. A hustle play by Delgado to give the Mets the first run of the game.
Ill-advised throw by Pedro Feliz, who's an outstanding defensive player.
Yes, and Tatis hustling, and this is the 3rd error of the game right here for the Phillies, and it's a costly one. And as you, Gary, you called it, hustling all the way Delgado, and for some reason Worth hesitating to throw home.
He was looking towards second. And watch Delgado as he rounds the bases. You'll check him out. When he picks up Razor Shine, you can tell he's what Razor Shine tries to hold him up.
And also on the back end, Tatis.
It's a broken bat infield hit for Tatis, and then the error by Feliz brings the run in. And if this ends up as an unearned run, it would be the first unearned run against the Phillies this entire season.
They've been the best defensive team in the National League so far. 3 errors in this ballgame.
And now the Mets will try and get some more and have Gary Sheffield come to bat, hitting for Omir Santos. And if Sheffield gets on, then Ryan Church is on deck, and he would bat for Santana, maybe.
That just has to be an assumption by Worth that Delgado was not going to be coming home on that ball, looking towards second base.
Is it possible that he saw Razor Shines trying to hold Delgado, and that might have influenced his not throwing the ball?
He might have. It'd be interesting to watch. Razor really had his hand up, and Delgado had a nice read.
So now Sheffield will bat for Santos, try to pick up Tatis from third base. The Mets with their 2nd hit of the game, an infield hit by Tatis, and Feliz's error allows Delgado to score. Now Sheffield takes ball 1.
Well, here's the hesitation again right here for inexplicably.
No, I don't think it could have been the third base coach, because Delgado was already far past the bag.
Someone's got to be telling. There's 3 Phillies around that ball. 2 other guys around Worth to tell him home.
And how about the hustle by Delgado? Here's a guy running on a bad hip. Yep. We wondered whether they'd pinch run for him, and here he scores from first base on that play.
Absolutely.
The run is charged to Scott Air, who walked Delgado leading off the inning. And now Santana's got himself the lead. Ooh. And now 3-0 to Sheffield. Now, Ryan Church is on deck. Is he necessarily going to bat here, you think?
I think he's just out there to get loose. He might not bat with Santana, but I like Sheffield swinging here 3-0.
He takes it, strike 3-1. Santana's thrown 101 pitches. Jerry said he might push him to 115 tonight. So he could go back there for the 8th.
Long inning could be one of the decisions that Jerry has to think about also.
Inside, ball 4. Now we'll find out. Sheffield goes to first. And it looks like Church is coming to bat. So Santana is done. Now, one thing that Jerry Manuel said before the game tonight, he was talking about the errors the Mets made late last night, that Castillo's error forced Putz to throw more pitches and might cost Putz his availability tonight. He also said that the error Delgado made in the ninth might cost K-Rod his availability because he threw too many pitches last night. You have to assume, though, if Santana's coming out, that both those guys are available. Although Feliciano is the guy getting up now.
I think Feliciano's going to get the 8th. And K-Rod, we watched him warming up with the rubber band. I think that he's hot for tonight, too.
You got Rollins from the right side who's struggling. Victorino, a better left-hand hitter. Utley, Howard, left-hand hitters.
Mets have Church up there trying to get some more with a 1-0 lead. He takes a strike from Durbin. Church has really been struggling. 0 for 4 last night, 2 for his last 25. He's also been a little under the weather the last few days, although Ryan said tonight he's feeling a little bit better. Dribbles one foul, and now Durbin ahead 0-2. Tatis is at third, Sheffield at first with 2 down. Off the corner, 1-2. So Santana goes 7 tonight, allows no runs and 2 hits, 3 walks, 10 strikeouts. Just a typical day on the mound for Mr. Santana. 2-2 to Church. I mean, he has been so good that it's almost off the charts.
That'll get that ERA back under 1, too.
His ERA will go down to 0.92 with his performance tonight.
You know what he wants right now? A knock by Ryan Church. That's what he's thinking about.
3-run bomb would be okay. Santana's already won a 1-0 game this year. He beat the Brewers 1-0.
And this is our very important runs out there. This is the Philly club that has proven it can come back.
2-2 to Church. Swing and a foul tip. He just barely got a piece of that to keep in the at-bat.
Boy, that was a good changeup from Chad Durbin. Nice job by Ryan to stay in that at bat.
Church 1 for 3 as a pinch hitter this year. He had a pinch hit in Philadelphia on Saturday. 2-2. Bounce foul. The inning began with Scott Air on the mound walking Delgado. He then retired the next 2 hitters. Durbin came on and broke Tatis's bat. And by the way, did you see Jimmy Rollins letting that broken bat go 5-hole?
Yes, he did.
And the Leafs threw it away for the error that has given the Mets the lead. This will be the 7th pitch of the at bat to Church. Struck him out, and the inning is over. So the Mets tag the Phillies with their first unearned run of the season, and it's enough to give Santana the lead as the Mets turn it over to the bullpen against the top of the Phillies batting order. It only goes 50 feet, but it proves to be the biggest play in the game so far as Delgado slides home with the game's first run. to catch. He will bat in the number 7 spot.
He struggles against the Philadelphia Phillies.
Well, he gets a lot of work against the Phillies because of all the left-handed bats, but Feliciano's given up 23 home runs in his entire major league career. 10 of the 23 have been against the Phillies, including 2 in Philadelphia this past weekend. Rollins takes off the plate, and both the left-hand hitters, yes, Utley and Ibanez.
And he's going to probably have to face he's going to face Utley for sure. You don't want to get to Howard.
That's trying to sneak around this 8th inning without J.J. Putz. Dribbler back to Feliciano. And Rollins retired one away. So 1 out and nobody on. Let's go to the studio and check in with Chris Carlin for a New York State Smokers Quit Line game break. Bronson Arroyo's turned into the little girl with the curl. Either very good or horrid, and he was apparently horrid tonight. Here's Victorino, who started the night with a 14-game hitting streak, but he's 0 for 3 tonight.
And a good bunter, and Mets not playing in at the corners.
Delgado not only not in, but well off the line.
And David Wright also.
And the breaking ball blew. Delgado won't get there, and it lands a fair ball. Sliding after it is Cora, but into second Victorino, and finally Church has to come over and pick it up as Cora couldn't play it cleanly. And then Church unleashes a throw, and fortunately for the Mets, that didn't get away.
Well, it's like Phil Mickelson around 40 feet from the pen.
Well, kept rolling away from Cora.
Well, it's an automatic double right there once Cora couldn't come up cleanly.
That spot is like the Bermuda Triangle tonight.
It really is.
Right on the chalk.
So it's a flare double for Victorino.
Well, that'll guarantee Howard coming up this inning.
So now the tying run is aboard. Victorino with all his speed at second base. And Chase Utley the batter. So Victorino now with a 15-game hitting streak with that little wedge shot. Utley hit one deep to left his last time up, chasing Murphy back onto the warning track. 0 for 2 and a walk tonight. Feliciano trying to hold the lead for Santana. Ball 1 to Utley. Bobby Parnell called upon to get up in the 8th inning. And again, this is what Jerry was talking about before the game. The prolonged 8th inning last night because of the Castillo error costing Putz his availability tonight. And Utley takes ball 2. Phillies have specialized in come from behind victories this year. They've won 14 games, 11 of them in come from behind fashion.
And that's what we've come to expect from the fighting Phils over the last couple of years. A lot of heart.
Howard looming on deck. Santana controlled him tonight. Now Utley takes the fastball for a strike, 2-1. Utley just 5 for 24 against Feliciano, but 2 of those 5 hits have been home runs, including the one last weekend in Philly.
David Wright way off the line at third. They're not guarding the line. Utley represents the go-ahead run.
2-1. Little number back to Feliciano. He looks Victorino back. 2 out. Nicely done by Feliciano. Now they're 2 away. Let's check in with Kevin Burkhardt. Kevin?
Guys, I asked Pedro, when you face these guys, Utley and Howard, so many times, how do you have success? And he said, you know what? I change it up. I change arm angles. I go quick pitch. I put more velocity, or I take some off of my slider. And he said, pitching here is a difference. At Citizens Bank, I feel like I have to paint the black. But here, you feel like you have more leeway to make a decent pitch, and because the park can hold it. Guys?
Well, Howard has always struggled against Feliciano. Just 4 for 23 in his career with 1 home run. This will be, I would think, Pedro's last batter. If Howard gets on, we'd see Parnell to pitch to Jason Worth.
Absolutely.
In which case, we might see Matt Stairs. But first, Howard is 0 for 3, struck out twice and grounded out. And a good slider to start him off, 0-1.
I like when Feliciano features that hard, quick slider against Howard. That big looping one that starts behind Howard ends up outer part of the plate is not the good pitch to Ryan.
Wouldn't bite at that one. It's 1-1. See Howard's numbers against Feliciano, not good. But he's always dangerous. 5 home runs, 20 runs batted in this year. 47 or more home runs each of the last 3 years. 1-1. Good breaking ball, and it's 1-2.
Again, another hard one. Small slider.
Gets away, and over to third goes Victorino. Castro gets to it. Victorino took a turn, thinking about maybe trying to dash home. Wild pitch moves the tying run 90 feet away.
Didn't get the body in front. Tough play for Castro.
Castro coming on here in the 8th inning after Santos left for a pinch hitter. Breaking ball pulled foul.
Well, that was a hanger right there, but it hung inside enough. It didn't hang over the middle.
And it was down, Keith.
Just, oh boy, just a little bit too quick. That was right in the happy area.
Reyes coming in from short to talk to Feliciano. Might want to know what the next pitch is going to be. Tying run at third and 2 out. Little dribbler foul.
Well, he barely hung in on that one.
Phillies are looking for their first hit with a runner in scoring position tonight. They've gone 0 for 6.
Kind of a strange shift here, huh, Keith, against Ryan Howard with Reyes at shortstop. Really, a average ground ball, a 4-3 would be a hit in this situation.
Got to think it's because of Feliciano probably going to throw the off-speed slider to get him out in front.
He struck him out. Pedro Feliciano works the Mets through the 8th. Top of the order coming up. Mets still up 1-0. By the way, it's raining. Their 2-game series against the Phillies here at Citi Field. Mets-Phillies coverage begins tomorrow at 6:30 only on SNY. Francisco Rodriguez getting ready for the 9th inning. The Mets trying to get him some insurance, as they did last night when they scored 2 in the 9th, and those became very necessary. It has begun to rain, and rain fairly moderately here at Citi Field. Jose Reyes leads off in the bottom of the 8th against Chad Durbin and takes somewhere for ball 1. Reyes is 0 for 3, reached on an error his last time up. And there's a strike. The Phillies have committed 3 errors. The Phillies had committed 5 errors all season through their first 24 games. But 3 tonight, and the first unearned run they've allowed. Alex Cora and then Carlos Beltran to follow. The Mets have had just 2 hits all night. Popped up. Rollins with the angle toward the tarp and runs out of room. What was that umbrella doing, sticking between the tarp and the stands, I wonder?
Well, this is just the wind. Just takes this ball out of play.
I see the guy dropped his umbrella to try and go for the ball.
It's bad form, isn't it? An umbrella at a ball game? And what do you do with the people behind you?
There are some ballparks where they're not allowed. This is not one of them. 2-2 to Reyes. Poked foul. What a job by Pedro Feliciano.
That was a perfect pitch. It's a pitch that Howard couldn't take and a pitch he couldn't hit.
2-2. Too high. The last thing in the world Durbin wants to do is walk Reyes. Jack Tashner, the lefty, up in the Phillies bullpen now. You got the left hand hitting Cora on deck, and then the switch hitting Beltran, and the left hand hitting Delgado. 3-2. Stroked the other way, falling fast, but Ibanez gets over. He was playing awfully shallow against Reyes.
Sure was.
And in good position to make that play. You tempt fate when you play Reyes that shallow, but it worked out for Ibanez there. So now Cora. Now let's see what Charlie Manuel's going to do. It looks like he's going to leave Durbin in to face him. Cora has popped to short, lined to short, and walked 0 for 2. Chan-Ho Park allowed just 1 hit over 6 innings. A double to Daniel Murphy in the 5th. The only other Met hit, an infield single by Tatis in the 7th that led to the error that produced the only run. Beltran, whose hitting streak is on the line, is on deck.
Oh, good breaking ball right there. Impossible to hit. It is out of the strike zone.
Cora faked a bunt on his first attempt. If he were to bunt here, bringing it with him towards Howard would be the best play. Howard's back, Utley back, Chad Durbin.
Hit in the air to right field, chasing Worth back, but he's got plenty of room. And there are 2 out.
Well, this ballpark continues to play large. I like it. I'm sure the hitters don't.
Would you like it when you were playing?
I was a line drive hitter.
I would love this spacious park. This was Keith's kind of yard.
Yep.
Lots of gap space.
Gaps, absolutely.
So here's Beltran, 0 for 3 tonight. Started the night with a 16-game hitting streak, the longest of his career. Trying to keep it going in his what should be his last at bat. Went around on that half swing. Tim Welke with the call. 0-1.
Very rare we see Carlos get too quick and jump out in front. He has been spot on all year. I mean to tell you, it's been a hitting clinic.
Durbin working a little too fast for Beltran's liking, so he asks for time. Beltran 3 for 12 against Durbin in his career. And he went around on that half swing, so Durbin has him tied in knots, and it's 0-2.
Out of the strike zone, tough pitch to lay off. Carlos, you see him break his wrist? Yep.
And again, Beltran has to slow Durbin down. Looking ahead to the ninth, it'll be Jason Worth, Raul Ibanez, and Pedro Feliz due up for the Phils against Frankie Rodriguez. Oh, 2. He went around strike 3. So Beltran on 3 half swings is struck out by Durbin. And we head for the ninth at Citi Field. Rodriguez has registered saves each of the last 2 days. He tries to make it 3 in a row tonight. Brought to you by IOTV. Get the best in HD free with IOTV. By Geico. By Firestone. By Sponge Tech. By Acela. And by Dunkin' Donuts. Frankie Rodriguez looks for his 8th save of the year.
To tell you how dominant he's been since 2005, he leads the majors with 205 saves. Second on that list, Trevor Hoffman, 161.
Gave up a couple of unearned runs last night en route to his 7th save. Jason Worth takes ball 1. It's been a very rough night for Worth. 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts against Santana and held the ball in right field, allowing Delgado to score the only run of the game. Looking for some redemption in the 9th inning. Off the plate, and Frankie's behind 2-0. It'll be Worth, then Raul Ibanez and Pedro Feliz against Rodriguez in the top of the 9th. The Mets have had just 2 hits. The Phillies have had but 3. Chasing on 2-0.
You don't blame him there going for a 2-0 pitch, but you got to look middle end, and look what he does. He swings at ball 3. Or maybe not.
But maybe on a 2-0 count, Keith, right? Trying to get a base runner on. Hard to take a pitch off Rodriguez. He's so good.
Yep. Now on 2-1, Worth takes the curveball for a strike, and it's 2-2. It's a nasty pitch.
We'll just call this the knee buckler.
The body wasn't into it.
Off the plate, 3-2. Don't want to walk the leadoff hitter in a 1-run game. Rodriguez issued a damaging walk last night to Clint Sammons that almost opened the door for the Braves. 3-2 to Worth. Curveball grounded down to third. David Wright, 1 out. Don't forget, as soon as Keith and Ron and I are done here, it'll be on to the studio at Lincoln Mercury post game live. I'm sure we'll hear from Johan Santana about his 10 strikeout effort tonight. Jerry Manuel as well. We'll hear all about Carlos Delgado's mad dash to the plate for what to date has been the only run of the game. All that coming up on Lincoln Mercury post game live with Chris Carlin and Bobby Ojeda right after we're done here.
I pinch hit for Bobby for a couple of days. 0 for 2. A couple punch outs. It's good to have him back there.
I'm sure he was glad for the relief.
There you go.
You guys used to do that, right?
That's right. That's right. It wasn't too effective either.
A late lamented year. Here's Ibanez, who's 1 for 3, double to right center in the 7th, and he takes up high for ball 1.
Well, Ibanez has certainly faced Rodriguez enough. 22 at bats in his career, 318 batting average, 7 for 22, no home runs.
The fire plug is on deck. That would be Matt Stairs, and his left-handed power to bat for Pedro Feliz. In the dirt, and again Rodriguez behind 2-0 as he was on Worth.
A little bit of respect here as Frankie knows a 1-run lead. This guy's got 8 home runs. Very dangerous hitter.
On 2-0, Ibanez takes the curveball for a strike. Quite a pitch there on 2-0.
Well, this is what makes him so effective, is that he is fearless. He will throw any pitch on any count.
'62 saves last year, 7 for 7 this year. 2-1, and a high fly ball hit to center. Beltran looking up through the raindrops. 2 out. And now the Phillies are down to their final out, and they'll take a shot with the 41-year-old left-handed slugger Matt Stairs.
Well, a big power hitter here, and it's the right move. Stairs 0 for 6 lifetime. And you see Razor Signs back there moving the outfielders back. Nothing over your head.
Stairs has had only 14 at bats this year, already has 2 home runs. And the curveball in for a strike. He likes his curveball tonight, boy.
Career as a pinch hitter, 285 average, 16 pinch hit home runs.
With the big home run against the Dodgers in the League Championship Series last year. 1-1 to Stairs. If he gets on, Greg Dobbs has come out on deck to bat for Carlos Ruiz. Changeup popped up. Beltran is there waiting for it. And the ball game is over. Frankie Rodriguez, his 3rd save in